play. Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening, brother. Good evening.
You were here at a time which is pivotal in the development of our country. And indeed, the Toastmasters program goes hand in hand with the development of our nation. Yes, there was a time, Mr. President, when I had to leave for years. But it was necessary for my departure that I leave, so that those that remain would have felt free to cultivate the diamonds that are within them. One would say I had to decrease as my fellow Toastmasters increased. You have taught me, Toastmasters. You've taught me much. That meant that you were, and you still are, my teacher. As I listen, I gain greater understanding. The scripture says, get wisdom, get knowledge, but knowledge gain, get understanding. But how do we get understanding? In Toastmasters, it is said that we learn by doing. We learn by doing. There is no other way to learn. Toastmasters, you do not learn, not until you will have done it.
Say it again, man.
You do not learn, not until you would have done it. I left the Bahamas back in 1974 in pursuit of learning. And they would have said he was in pursuit of education. But when I reflect, I wonder what type of education was that? When I got there, the institution, McMaster University, Hamilton, Ontario, I was in search of some great men because of the spirit that travels with these men. But when I got there, I didn't see them. I didn't see them. I may have seen one or two very briefly. But instead, I met with Socrates. I met with Plato. Some of you would have remembered that. I met with Aristotle. I met with John Stuart Mills. I remember that. I met with John Locke. I met with Sir Isaac Newton. And even Galileo. I had a brief conversation with Napoleon Hill.
Good stuff.
But then they said to me, the gentleman that I believe in whom you are in search of, they're not here. You will have to therefore continue the search. And when I returned to the Bahamas, I went to a place and they said, well, there is an organization that's called Toastmasters International.
Wow.
And there is a club that's called the First Bahamas Branch of Club 1600. Toastmasters International. Upon entering the room, I looked around and I saw what I see tonight. I saw a T-shaped table. And I wondered about the T-shaped table. I saw well-dressed men.
Yes.
Like they are tonight. I saw very well-dressed men. But at that time, upon entering the halls of Club 1600, I was not eligible to sit at the table. Not yet. But I understood that this thing go with sense. I understood that this thing go with sense. And I took my time. As I sat in the audience, I observed these well-dressed men coming in and taking their seats. I said, wow, will I ever be able to dress like that? Will I ever be able to walk like that? And then there were many empty seats. There were empty seats. But the seats were labeled, expecting Toastmasters to come. And somebody said, yes, they will come. On one of the labels, I remember seeing not those that preceded me, but those that came after me. I remember seeing Mr. the Ayatollah. They said they needed an Ayatollah. I remember seeing that name. I hadn't met the good gentleman. But I remember seeing that name. I remember seeing the name Chief Chess Player. His name, that's Toastmaster John Hadley. Chief Chess Player. I remember seeing a label.
This is big.
JC from Life with Keys. He earned that name later on. He earned that name. But he was here. He was here ahead of me. But yeah, they told me that we expect an explosion. And as for the Ayatollah, the reason we need him, and we need the chief chess player, and we also need the fella, they call him Mr. Enthusiasm. He used to work with a company by the name of ABC Motors. And then he was promoted to another company, Imperial Life Financial. He foresaw the growth and development of Toastmasters. As a matter of fact, back in 1981, there was a lull in Toastmasters in the Bahamas. At the time, the Bahamas did not have a district or a division. There were too few clubs in the Bahamas back in 1981. And so we in the Bahamas, we love to go to Florida. And so in order for us to go to Florida to attend the meetings, we had to become a full-fledged division. Fellow Toastmasters, you have present here tonight. Those Toastmasters who were responsible for nominating and electing a Toastmaster who would serve as the first division governor of the Bahamas Division of Toastmasters. Those Toastmasters, I'm pleased to say, are present with us tonight in the name of Toastmaster Bernard F. Panner and Toastmaster James Boswick. And then there is another. And then there was another Toastmaster. Yours truly. fellow Toastmasters, these were unknown Toastmasters. But because of the gift that these Toastmasters, especially Toastmasters and Jimmy Boston, had developed, they were able to mesmerize the persons who knew them not. They saw them for the first time. And they were very well dressed, as they are tonight.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So, Club 1600 was known, not only in the Bahamas, as having some of the most well-dressed men in the country, but in the district. Give yourselves a round of applause. For me, the Toastmasters had its ups and downs. We began with the formation of the division back in full-fledged division back in 1991. And then we went on to 1982, 83. Actually, it was 82. The year was not so good. We had some casualties. Some of you may remember.
Yes.
Some of you were toddlers back then.
Yes.
Some of you went with your fathers on a picnic. But you were here today.
On the picnic in the
You didn't return home with your father? Those of you that went with your father on the picnic, you decided to return home with your father. I don't know why. You will tell me. But be that as it may, in 1981, when BH was president, it was the time when Club 1600 meetings started at
8:30.
8:30.
On time.
Without fail.
8:30.
8:30.
Remember that.
Every night. Every meeting night. 8:30. 10:30. We were out. Without fail. So timing was important. When I entered Toastmasters, I was actually inducted into Toastmasters by one Toastmaster, Philip Brave Davis, back in February of 1979. Some of you were around, yes?
No, sir. Twinkle in my daddy eyes.
79. In the Limeridian Hotel, now known as Sandals, under the patronage of Sir Gerald, His Excellency Sir Gerald Cash. It was myself and Toastmaster Joseph Mills. Some of you may remember that name. He's now deceased. And sometime later, it appeared that history was about to, in some way, repeat itself. Because in 1987, when Toastmaster Cooper presented himself as a candidate for the presidency of this club, this august body, again, he was interviewed by one Toastmaster, Brave Davis. But let me share some things with you, with some of the things that really stuck with me during my development and growth in Toastmasters. In 1979, when I joined Toastmasters, Brave Davis, he served on the bench in Freeport, Grand Bahama. Without fail, every Thursday night, he would be here at Toastmasters to chair every single club meeting. And not only did he chair every single club meeting, he also chaired the executive meetings. And let me pause to say here about what is the executive all about? The executive, it's about collective responsibility. In other words, when the executives have their meetings, wherever those meetings are held, you can have whatever wars, no fist being thrown out, whatever verbal battle you need to have to work out whatever differences at your executive meeting. It is collective responsibility. It's a oneness. When the executives appear at this meeting on a Thursday night, they're one. You see one. If you take one stick, you can easily break it. If you put two sticks together, it is not so easily broken. Imagine putting 7 sticks together. Those 7 sticks, they are unbreakable. They are actually unbreakable. So there is a purpose behind this oneness.
Yes. Yes.
There's a purpose behind this collective responsibility on a Thursday night. As an executive, the chair, who's the chairman, is the person that speaks. He is the default speaker. The other person speaks if, and only if, they are clarifying something for the body, or they're presenting a communique or report. But no executive ever questions another executive. At this meeting, you had your meeting in your executive forum. So you respect your membership. You respect your executives. You respect yourself. So to question any of your fellow executives in a forum like this, you're showing yourself disrespect. And it's important too, even at home, that you be one. Otherwise, the devil, he has his time. He will literally destroy you. Even at this club, the opponents, if they see a hole, the way we men are. If they see a hole,
Order.
penetrate. It's your mind. As a man thinking in his heart. So is he. I didn't say it. There is enough of them out there to attack you. So stay together.
Good stuff.
Yes, sir. I remember while I was training or preparing to be for the presidency back in 1986. The election was in 86, November of 86. It was a calendar year event. And I read, as part of my preparation, I read Robert's Rule of Order at least 6 to 8 times.
Yeah.
At least 6 to 8 times. And guess what? I didn't understand it. After reading the 8th time, I did not understand it.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
It was not until I got in the chair
Yeah.
that I started to do it. That's when I began to learn Robert's Rule. So we learn by doing in an atmosphere of fun. There was a Toastmaster, he's now deceased, Toastmaster Clifford Lockhart.
Yeah.
He was considered one of the disciplinarians of the body. There was Kingsley Monroe. He was considered one of the parliamentary scholars, and so was Christopher Stewart. And there were others who were considered masters in their chess game. There were Toastmasters who were fully committed and sold out to this program. One of them was Noble. You know him.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, you know, and let me share this one with you. I can't escape it. It was interesting. Back in 1981, the Toastmaster that was responsible for Brutus's coronation.
Amen.
It's the same Toastmaster under whose presidency and chairmanship the meeting got overheated. Toastmaster Bostic will remember this. Toastmaster Bernard Hanna was the president. He was chairing the meeting, and the meeting got overheated to the point where Toastmaster Carey, Ed Menard Brutus Carey, he was actually under the coronation of Toastmaster Bernard Hanna. But he disagreed so vehemently
Yes.
with the presidency of the man on the floor that he actually got up. He was sitting where BH is sitting tonight. And he got up on the table and he walked from the tail of the table all the way, and he stood right there.
Yeah.
And he was looking down
Oh, yeah.
on the president's face. The man who was responsible for his election. The man who was responsible for his coronation as the first full-fledged division governor.
Yeah. Brutus.
But that was not about 1600 in those days.
It's like flooding musician.
But then 81 passed, 82 came, another year, not so good. And when I came in, back in 1978 as a guest, and when I saw all the tables that I mentioned, all the seats that I mentioned to you, they told me that yes, there was a prophet, and that we have turbulence as well. But as men, we stick together, and men will remain men. And in 1983, followed that year, they dubbed the year of Reconstruction and Recreation under the presidency of Glenn Foster. And that year followed with the chess player and Toastmaster Jimmy Bostwick. And the village, the tuition, the learning continued. Fellow Toastmasters, Club 1600 has a tremendous history. Tremendous history. Club 1600 is very dear to my heart. Very dear. Toastmasters has done a lot for me. But I do warn you though, do not ask what Toastmasters can do for you. But instead, ask, can you do for Toastmasters? You know, in mechanical engineering some years ago, I learned that in order to get something out, you got to put something in. And the more efficient the machinery, the greater the output. If the machinery is not efficient, then you're going to have leakage. What does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with us? The more we put in, the more we get out. And the more we know, Mr. Chairman, the more we will be responsible for. But have no fear. Have no fear. Why? Because the Master, he didn't give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power. And since he's infinite, that's infinite power. Spirit of love. And since he's infinite, that's infinite love. And a spirit of self-discipline and self-control. So So if Toastmaster Craig Ferguson gets up on my case at a meeting, I'm obliged to maintain my cool, self-discipline, self-control. I cannot get even with it. I must get better. JC's reading, that's what JC said. I can't get better. I have to get better. But Toastmasters, the club, the program, is here today. And in this room is a collection of many brilliant minds. As a matter of fact, it's a kaleidoscope of all the colors in the universe that constitute the electromagnetic spectrum. And each of the color has a purpose. Each of the color does its job. Each of the colors work within you and me to do some good stuff. Those are the things that I come here to talk about today. But merely to share how Toastmasters has impacted me. And it's impacted me in a great way. And gentlemen, you continue to impact me in a magnificent way. And I will forever be indebted to you, gentlemen, whether you see me or not. Because guess what? You may see a physical structure, but I am a spiritual being having a human experience. You think you're seeing me, but you're not seeing me. Yes, you are hearing my voice. It's not just an echo. You are hearing a voice. You are a part of me as I am a part of you. And that is why I am so concerned about my development, your development, all of our development. And I would encourage us, those of us who just joined, whenever we decide to serve on the executive, we know once I finish this particular post, if it's the marketing position, then I must be able to be the best marketing consultant, professional, wherever I end up. I'm the treasurer. I am the chancellor of the exchequer, and it means that once I finish serving as treasurer of this club, I can serve as treasurer of any institution, be it a bank, insurance company, trust company. That's the goal, that's the objective. Once I would have served as CEO, president, I can run any company anywhere in the world. That should be the objective. That's my job. Your fellow Toastmasters, ask not. Toastmasters do. But what you can do. And once you will have done it, fellow Toastmasters, I can assure you that the benefits that will accrue will be exponential. Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, gentlemen.